just stop on that first hold, which almost looked like it could work. But then he kind of just flew off of it, but I wish he would adjust his feet a bit. Oh!
So he did manage to slow it down. And does he have time?
I think he does.
Some clever footwork to finish here.
Very nicely done by Kokoro Fuji. What was so interesting about that is I kept saying he's landing so vertical, right? With that little foot placement. The first hold a little too long. Again, even though it is a learned movement, it's one of those learned movements that's a little more difficult to kind of remember exactly what you did. Ooh,
yes.
Nice hold there.
Wonderful.
Really pausing, completely stopping. Just see how he held his foot out to create a little stall in the momentum. That was ingenious. Great mobility.
Gets the final body
nice
position right.
There.
That is fantastic top. Little crimp move.
Taking a good amount of rest in between attempts, which is really smart, especially though because there's a breeze, it's nice, but it is getting a little warmer, so just to even keep the skin nice and dry as you're kind of having to hang on to each hold a little longer down here, you want to have enough. Oh, that was it. Keep it all nice and organized.
Exactly. Say Maximilian looking like this is not how he wanted his first World Cup final to go. Interestingly, he's not out of it yet.
Definitely not out of it. It's just a tough round all around. Very different from the semifinals round. It's a little more technical. The coordination's a little bit more difficult. So.
And they just ratcheted up the difficulty just a little bit.
When you have multiple people top all 4 boulders, though, in semis, I think it makes sense that the finals boulders get a little harder.
They kind of have only themselves to blame for the finals boulders to get tweaked
just
harder.
Too strong.
Yeah, they're just too strong.
Oh, Kokoro using that bit of height he has to try to move into that zone.
They have about 20 minutes to rest between each boulder in this format. However, there is a cumulative effect over yesterday's qualification round, this morning's semifinal, and now here we are. So the fatigue factor definitely weighs in. Sometimes it just gets the better of you. Sean Bailey electing to go matched on the yellow hold. That looked good.
Really trusting his feet there. Sean has great footwork, and I mean, kind of a difference there between him and Zach on this really is just trusting the foot. Zach was having a hard time getting around the corner because he wasn't trusting the rock over on his foot, but Sean immediately put all of his body weight on his right foot because he was able to trust it. Also doing the right beta here.
Yes. And
so good on his
that little
feet.
bit of hop. This is huge from Sean Bailey.
The crowd is definitely getting amped. Athletes do pay a lot of attention to the cheers and the time that athletes are out there, so they can kind of get a feel. And then just basing it off of how difficult something was and like knowing what you're good at. And this is definitely a strength of Sean's, is this style of climbing. So he might guess that, you know, some of the athletes are struggling on this, and that would be a proper guess.
Yeah, you would be spot on correct. Tomo, they're taking a swing at the zone. They're not going to give him control for that. I think maybe he was just going to go and have a look. That is definitely control.
Also, so confident on his feet here. It's so impressive. He doesn't look like he was slipping at all. He just was putting his foot in different orientations on. Okay, we have some medics to the right of us preparing ice already, so they're going to go take care of him quickly as Sean Bailey is up and on men's number 4 very fast.
Down that crimp right away.
Able to get in that right position. He's having a wonderful competition here. See if he can do this swing and jump. Oh.
So very good. Climbing power is not necessarily about big muscles. It's about using your angles to your greatest advantage.
Oh, yeah. And he does a great job with that.
Oh!
And Sean Bailey with one arm, a move I was talking about earlier, something he's so good at, catching anything one-handed, and a huge smile from Sean Bailey. First World Cup win, barring any appeals.
With an exclamation mark.
And also, you know, topping 2 boulders in one of the more difficult finals we've seen in a while, creating some serious consistency this year so far.
Yoshiyuki Ogata, these are really, really seasoned finalists. We're going to see what Tomoa can do here. He has got a podium, and it's a question of what color the medal is.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
A flash from Tomoe Narasaki. You know, as I got on this boulder, all I could think of is, wow, this last move just has Tomoe's name written all over it. And after a disappointing final for him, it is a great way to end the round, doing what he does best and flashing boulders.
Flashing boulders with authority. So that is going to give him third place.
19 season with that knee injury. So this is big for her to be back in a final. But here we're going to start with Natalia Grossman on a pretty technical first boulder for the women. It's one that she's reading really well currently, but there's some interesting body positions in this one and use of the arete, which I always love to see, and actually the zone hold you can't see yet, but you're gonna have to stand up into the zone hold that's in this next section of the arete. Wow, standing on delicate feet. Nice toe hook with that left foot. Really nice counterbalance.
She has shown to be a very precise climber. She executes very, very well. Conservation of movement, doesn't make a lot of extraneous movements when she's climbing through boulders.
Now what she's gonna wanna do is get her right foot where her left foot is here in order to get the left foot on that other left foot to the left of the volume. There's lots of left, right.
Happening
But
right now.
look at that foot switch. So much control, so good on her feet. And then there actually is an inside flag. Nailed it.
You gotta be kidding me. Natalia Grossman with a flash. So first attempt top of boulder number 1.
Definitely a good idea to switch to that method or beta because it seems to be the more efficient one. But really exciting to see Stasha back in a final. She's been in multiple finals throughout her career, and you know, her first comp back from having to recover from a knee injury was the Europe Continental Championships, where she actually placed second behind Victoria Mishkova, who got that Olympic spot. So it was really, you know, that's a rough year for Stasha not to get to compete at the other 2 events where you could make the Olympics and have literally 1 shot due to an injury. So being back here is a great boost of confidence for her this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And she is an exciting climber to watch. She's very dynamic, very powerful. And as we mentioned, if you were watching in the semifinal round, her emotions show on almost every attempt. And I like to see it. I like to see when people are trying hard. I like to see when they're putting everything they have into their time on the mat, especially in a final round.
Kind of struggling with this foot switch here. It looked like she was going to try to match down low and then bring her right foot up. We saw Natalia Grossman kind of just do a foot hop switch here, which it is a difficult move to do. She did make it look easy, but it is difficult. But this looks like a better method that Stasha is going with. It looks a little more secure, especially with her height here. She can stand comfortably on that. Ooh, nice save.
Just a good save.
Very good save. Again, Natalia came out and back behind the wall quickly, so Stasha knows that she was able to get it done quickly. And again, that inside flag is the way. I love how they have to kind of teeter over, grab the hand, and throw the foot to stop them from barn dooring, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Inside more so that she can generate momentum going to the left. And when you're standing on big holds moving between big movements, you can have imprecision in your foot placement and you can adjust. When the footholds are this small and the movement is this precise, you have to get all of the angles right. And you just saw her climbed herself into a position she couldn't reverse. We'll see if she can correct that. I'm not even gonna.
The knee press, it makes it so much easier to rock over on your foot. And again, another move that I love.
There you see the right foot. She does twist it. That's the difference in sticking that flag. Big smile, Brooke Rapitu.
That's for her style. So it's kind of cool how you can apply your own style to the boulders, even if it's not always the intended way.
Exactly. When the dust settles, it's just you and the boulder, and the root setters can have all the best intentions. And I love that she's doing that.
It's so fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch. You're right. It's she's an engaging young climber, and this is.
Got to switch. There we go. Oh, just falling out of it. Her hips just sagged to the right a bit too much to be able to hold that counterbalance there, that compression move.
And with 30 seconds to go, this is going to be a boulder where she needs to hustle
but won't want to at the top.
Well, and with her beta, she actually
She gets there
can't.
very
If
quickly.
any of the other women who did that lower beta differently, I don't think they would have been able to hustle, but I think she's going to make it happen. And
Oriane Bertone.
Wow.
With 5 seconds to spare. To tip farther to the left. And now we're going to see if Janja can flash this boulder as we have become accustomed to. My fault.
I had nothing to do with that.
My fault. 21 gold medals across all disciplines. A remarkable, remarkable career so far from the young athlete. 22 years old.
It is so wild to think that she's only 22. She's accomplished more than most people will in their entire career in, just a few years. And really is the dominant force in climbing. I've been referring to her as the Michael Phelps of climbing.
That's a good one, yeah.
I mean, she is so dominant, and people expect to see amazing things from her, and she doesn't disappoint. She is such a fantastic climber, understands movement so well, and she's so strong.
And it's gonna.
And
the only other option.
That is such a typical Janja move where she does it differently than everybody else, and it's just because she can.
But it's only boulder number 1. There's 3 to go. Anything can happen. There's lots of different styles you're going to see over the course of this women's final. Natalia Grossman climbing in the afternoon sun now. It's going to warm these holds up. So something to pay attention to, especially when the friction is not really high. But Natalia just looking determined.
And that cross move is one of the harder moves on this boulder. Now, from this angle, that right foothold might look kind of good, but it's pretty shallow. And these hand holds, especially in the sun, are going to be kind of difficult to hold on to. And we're going to see a flash here from Natalia Grossman.
It is not uncommon.
And I almost feel like Stasha is the tallest competitor in this competition, and it almost looked like she was a little too high as well. Like when Natalia was able to stick it, she kind of hung on it better, and Stasha wasn't able to have her arm as straight, so that could be an aspect too. Brooke Rabbittu on her first attempt here, bringing in that left hand, that other option, kind of floating your way through that cross move nicely into this first boulder.
A really good description, and watching climbers float between holds is a sign that they have the power dialed in just right.
Exactly. Nicely into the zone. Just needs to kind of keep it together here, keep the hips in, really rock over the feet, lock off, get into that slopey finish hold, and a flash for Brooke Rabbittu. Comes out and she knows what her plan is immediately. We'll see other athletes take a second and kind of rework what they're going to do. A little slip up there, but she definitely can fix it. Now, this is an interesting beta, going with that toe hook on the left side versus the right side.
Yeah, sort of a
nicely through.
Good,
that
great example
of
how great her hand strength is. That was
exactly
not the cleanest we've seen that move done, but of no matter to Janja.
Just needs to keep it together here, go high enough, hold that swing, and just a slow press over, nice lock off into that top hold. Nicely done by Janja Garnbret.
An absolutely phenomenal job all weekend long.
Natalia nicely establishing on this number 3 boulder for the women. You saw as she kind of climbed up into that last orange taped hold, establishing all 4 points on and coming into this stem position. Now she's going to have to rock across here and kind of hold on as tight as she can and really use her hip flexibility here to get into that top hold. It is a good hold that they're finishing on, but this is a precarious.
Yeah, it's super insecure.
Two fingers. Wow.
Very impressive.
Another flash from Natalia Grossman.
Just a deep breath or two to get re-centered.
And that's another thing about climbing in general. It's sometimes hard to tell when things are hard, because when you do things well, they look easy even though you're trying hard. And that's something that can't always translate to the viewer. But it's good to note that just because things look easy, they're very difficult.
Yes. this is what we're talking about. Is she needs to transition. She's staying way to the left because that's where the opposition is. And then there's a point of almost no help. But that is excellent work from Sasha.
Really nicely done by Sasha Gale. Up a bit on this attempt.
I agree.
I said a lot of words there. I kind of went on a roll for a second.
Spot on all the way through. Brooke Rabitu, there is an interesting layer in a round where boulders are getting flashed, is that when you don't flash a boulder, you put yourself behind even though you get a top. So there is pressure now in number of attempts to tops. And Brooke is really going to want to get this one.
Ooh, she is able to reach over there nicely, just barely. Every inch of her reach. Nicely done by Brooke Rabitu. On her next attempt, but we'll see if she decides to repeat that movement or go with something else. She's going with it again.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, she wound it up and then slowed it down.
Exactly. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Not predictable.
No, that's making predictions is dangerous. We try really hard, but we get foiled by climbers doing unexpected things fairly often. Oriane here making this transition.
Nicely done.
Really nicely done. That a little bit more precise, a little bit more definitive in her movement at the end of this boulder. And she just looks just momentarily unsure.
Go ahead, sorry.
No.
I was going to say, she is also putting a lot of pressure on that very first move on her shoulder. She's really slamming her right hand into it. Let's see if she can make it happen, going a little more static. Nicely done by Miho Nanaka. She'll be very happy to have a top there. Going so well, but it's you learn more. You learn this resilience and that extra try-hard ability from those rounds that break you down a bit more. So it's a good life skill to have if you want to stay around on this circuit the way she has.
Yeah. And even for you, in the gym at home when you're getting frustrated by a boulder and you want to walk away and maybe you just want to try it next time, go back and give it one more shot. Put a little bit of that try hard that Miho just showed us and see how much that'll improve your climbing. Just a little finger flex to make sure that everything is in optimal position.
A little more wind to the fingers before she sets up for this last move. Reading this boulder nicely, going into it very dynamically. I was hoping she would do that. Now, she definitely had the top hold and then followed by this palm press. And then the end shouldn't be too difficult, but it's a slow kind of lock off, and you're going to have to hold a bit of a barn door at the top, which they've proven that they're very good at.
The women have been showing us that. No problem. Natalia Grossman, boulder number 4. We are into the last boulder of the finals here in Salt Lake City. We're watching Natalia Grossman basically announcing her arrival on the women's circuit.
This is where that dynamic movement's going to come up. Looks like she's going for it. Oh, not doing the palm press. She's actually going to go straight into the zone. Looking for a perfect round here. If she's able to top, nobody will be able to catch her, and she'll be solidifying another gold medal World Cup win. She thought she was dreaming last weekend. Can't wait to see what she says this weekend. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Unless you come out and flash every boulder in the final and end up in first place, there's always something to complain about, but nothing here for Natalia Grossman. I'm going to try really hard not to cry.
So is she. Natalia Grossman is absolutely in her element. The fourth semifinal boulder was like that too. It sent quite a lot of the climbers into being handcuffed, hands backwards. So here we saw Sasha get handcuffed with her feet, really, sort of an entire body handcuff. And we'll see if she can make the adjustment on the way up instead of having to reverse movement once she gets into the middle of the boulder. You have to decide to use the bad part of a hold sometimes, and that's route setters often ask you to do the thing you don't want to do, but have to do instead of do the thing you want to do, which is to grab the good parts of holds.
Exactly. Ooh,
so powerful.
Really nice sequencing there from Sasha Gale.
Really good work.
It's important to use every part of your skill set to your advantage, and she sized that up and was like, I think I can do that move by gastoning that zone hold. I am long enough to make that happen, and that's great decision making there. Still had to fight for it and was able to make it happen. See if she can get her two hands on the top. She doesn't need to grab that screw on, it's just more secure. So she's gonna go that safer route and make sure she gets to that screw on. And what a way to end the round for Sasha Gayo.
The crowd is giving Oriana a boost. They want to see people on top of boulders, and the climbers definitely appreciate it. It's been a while since we've had 1,000 people shouting at climbers.
Seriously, and she's so comfortable in knee bars. It's really fun to watch her style of climbing.
Man, something that will only get better.
Yeah, and it's a mix between body movements and dynamic movements, and just there we
Quick
go right
decision
there.
making.
Very quick decision making. Adjusted just as we thought she would, and just trying to figure out how exactly she wants to go to the finish of this women's number 4, taking that same approach as Natalia Grossman, and going to end with the top, Oriane Berton.
Quick to
Expressive.
express.
Very expressive, and it, again, we've talked about this a lot. It's just so great to see in this sport. It's such a competitive sport. The athletes are so strong. Wow, that save by Miho Nanaka, that was very good. Very good reaction to what was happening. We know she has great reactions considering her speed performance this weekend.
And I wonder if we're seeing a little bit of the speed.
There.
Wow.
More of the intended beta there, perfectly executed.
Yeah, see how high she got on the zone holds. No doubt she was going to stay on through that swing, and she's just going to very calmly press her way into the pinch.
And a very nice way for Miho Nanaka to end the round.
The last climber in the round. Unexpectedly for her, gold medal is off the table, but a silver medal is on the table. And just wait and see what Yanya can do here.
I'm interested to see specifically what her approach is to that dynamic move in the middle. It also looks like she kind of forgot about that arete there for a second, but a nice quick fix right there. But I could see, I almost could see her doing more of what Miho just did with that palm press, but perhaps she'll just jump right to the zone hold, but we'll have to see. We're about to see. Straight to the zone hold, perfectly executed. Gonna take a second and compose herself.
Yeah, in control. You are gonna see Yanya Gombrett looking great on this last boulder.
Very nicely done. I just love how smooth her movements are. It's every time she does something, the rest of her body reacts so quickly, and that is just something that cannot be learned easily.